Monitoring and evaluation and reporting. We know that at the ministry we have a monitoring and evaluation department. That's our division, which is headed by a director and supported by a deputy. And I'll first want to describe what we term as monitoring. Once a year, we visit a team made up of engineers and quantity surveyors from the agencies, from the 3 agencies: the Ghana Roof and Secretariat, and it is led by other engineer or QS from the Ministry of Roads and Highways. We embark on an annual program to visit all the 16 regions with the staff. We organize what we call and basically the form that it takes is this. We look for together with a team in the region, we look out for compliance of the standards, compliance of designs if it's available, documentation, and if it's been properly filed, if the materials were tested and the results were properly captured and are on file. And basically, at the end of the day, what we seek to do is, together with the regional team, we troubleshoot the processes, procedures, and the projects to satisfy ourselves of the good practices that has been done in the region, and also to appreciate the not so good ones and make an effort to put in corrective measures. This, depending on the size of the region, this might take 2 to 4 days. And then at the end of the visits and all that, the team meets, write their reports. Then they meet the regional team once again to discuss their findings. And at that meeting, they will also try and find solutions to some of them. And I'm sure they depart from the region in a very collaborative mood and back to Accra. So after doing all that, at the end of the exercise, we invite the regional team to the ministry, and we do what we call the joint meeting, which basically reinforces the discussions and the decisions and recommendations that has already been arrived at in the regions. But then the only difference here is that now we have the chief director and some staff of the ministry and the agency heads and the management. Some management staff also partake in this. Now you realize that we do all these things as colleagues. There isn't any timelines to ensure that these corrective measures and recommendations are undertaken, and also rarely do we take any punitive action for some of the infractions. Now, let me. This is basically the process that we called monitoring in our sector. It is a top down approach from the region, from the ministry and head offices to the regions, and then back to report to the chief director and the heads of agencies. Now, let me quickly tell you I give you the textbook description of what a monitoring exercise is. Monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring, evaluation, and reporting is a process used to assess the progress, outcomes, and impacts of projects. It could be projects, it could be programs, strategies, and policies. Now, the goal of this is to ensure that projects are achieving their intended objectives and that resources are being used effectively and efficiently, and that any necessary adjustments can be made to improve performance and outcome. So you realize that probably apart from there doesn't being a process, that's the process discussed earlier. It is a one-stop thing. You know, we do it once a year for each region, and then even there we don't do that for all the projects in the region. We sample, and sometimes we end up doing probably 10% less or more of the projects available. Of course, we are constrained with time and resources, so we are not able to do that continuous thing. Occasionally, we also go back to do some punch exercise. Particular projects, due to one reason or the other, we might have to go back and make sure that over the time lapse, if corrective measures has also been taken. So if you look at the textbook description of monitoring, it is a continuous process, and the purpose is to do it in at such frequency to ensure that the project is on track to achieve one, the scope, its objectives, impacts, and outcomes. And then if there's any corrective actions to be taken to bring it back, that is if it strays away from the intended purposes. So it should probably be done more than what logistics and other resources allow us to do that. Now, if it comes to the so you realize that. First, let me give a brief how I intend to go on from here. I would, after describing the process to you, and then I coming back to describe what the formal interpretation of the processes are. We will compare the actual action being taken in the sector with what should have been the case. Now, if it comes to evaluation, basically, whilst the monitoring is tracking of the processes to ensure that the scope of the project is being met with regards to the budget, the time, and quality and the scope, evaluation tends to look at what the higher level objective of the project was. For example, if we are developing a road, let's say in an urban center, like developing from the ministries through Liberation Road, Redemption Road to Adenta. The purpose of this is not to just develop the scope of the roads. That's that length, the number of lanes of road. The impact we probably want to achieve is to increase traveling speed, reduce delays, reduce probably accidents, and generally, increase the economic value of properties and activities, commercial activities along that corridor. What monitoring seeks to do is to make sure that the length of road and the number of lanes that was designed and we set out to do at the beginning is being achieved in a timely and in an efficient manner. But then what evaluation would come back to do is to find out if the high level of objectives and impacts that goes with the plan scope is also being achieved. Are we really increasing the travel speeds, reducing congestions and safety, or we are just creating more capacity for cars to store in them and probably make matters worse for pedestrians and then for the environment. And so it is the aim and objective of the evaluation process to compare these higher level objectives and impacts to a baseline data that was collected on the same at the beginning of the project, compare them and see if we have finally achieved what we intend to do. So, whereas monitoring is a continuous tracking and assessment of where we are in terms of budget, time, scope, and quality, evaluation will be finding out if the project is achieving its set objectives. And basically, the object of the evaluation of monitoring is to plow back, is to have a look into the process. That's a feedback into the process that can help us to correct any delays, any troubles that we are encountering, and which we anticipate that it's going to affect the project delivery. But then what evaluation does is to basically find out, assist us to learn the lessons to make future projects like we are doing much efficient, much better, and then meet the high level objectives. For example, if you take the Pokwase interchange, a beautiful design, beautiful project. It has all the hallmarks of having been executed to the best of any professional's expectations. The project was, constructed within budget and in good time. And the budget, as you know, was exceptionally good because we set out to do a 3-tier with some signal somewhere on one of the the levels, but then due to the team's ingenuity, value engineering was undertaken, and we ended up having a 4th year with most of the conflicts at the intersection eliminated, and we ended up doing more bridges and a more beautiful design. So you realize that at the end of the project, the monitoring report will come out, the monitoring process will come out excellently. We've done excellently well. The beautiful project, both the workmanship and the execution, and also the budget and time were fantastic. Now, the evaluation will be this: what did we set out to achieve with the interchange? Obviously, to remove travel bottlenecks on the Insawan Road and also on the Pokwase Kwashiman or Enya corridor. And so the evaluators will go back and normally they will be independent of the project team. The monitoring will be undertaken by the project team themselves, led by probably the project manager or a consultant undertaking that on his behalf. But in most times, the evaluation is being done by professionals who are probably independent from the project team. And so they'll come and find out if they were able to achieve the kind of increase in speeds or reductions in delays on both arms of the Achimota Insawan Road and then the Pokwase Kwashiman Road. Whether we were able to even reduce accidents in a corridor and in the catchment area, and whether we were actually able to improve the environment after the project. All these things are done. For some of them, we can have a look back into the project to do some corrections. That is, if it's that critical and resources are available for that. But in most instances, what this thing what the evaluation process will generate is to bring up the experiences and lessons learned, so that I know in other projects, we won't repeat or we'll get a better project than the previous ones. So the Pokwase interchange has been completed. It's a beautiful landmark. The professionals have done their best and very admirable. But then the question that you would probably be asking is there a significant reduction in congestion on the corridor? Should we come up with another project to improve the performance of this project? And I think already DHA started some works on the Insawan corridor even before the project ended. It was all as a result of the evaluation process that took place on the project. So you realize that the monitoring process, it's continuous, but then the evaluation process probably happens towards the end of the project, and it can be at the end of the project, but then depending on what we intend to also achieve, it can be we can do another one. It can be done 2 years, 3 years, 4 years after the project, just to see how the project is impacting on the livelihoods socially, and also on the environment, and on staff like that. So monitoring is continuous, but then evaluation gives a snapshot view of what the project achieved. The other objective of evaluation is also to make sure that the project is sustainable. You know, the whole process is such that we don't want to end up with a project that will be completed or developed, and then I know it won't be able to sustain itself in terms of its operation, maintenance, and stuff like that. I must be honest to be the first person to say that for all our donor assisted projects, the monitoring and evaluation, a rigorous framework is in place with normally a consultant, a separate consultant attached to the project, just to make sure that baseline data has been collected, and the monitoring process is being done periodically to compare baseline to what we eventually were able to achieve. Now, let me. I think probably when I finish the presentation, then probably the questions will start. Now, you realize that, let's ask ourselves, is that once a year per region, sample the projects, and discuss from having stayed away for a year and reminiscing on what my career path and all that, what I've learned, lessons I've learned. Probably a lot more of this monitoring and evaluation, the monitoring of our projects, especially those that are being funded by GOG, be it road fund or from the consolidated, and being managed in the regions by our staff, engineers, and QSs and people like that. Probably more, we should have an M&E professional in the region who will lead the team to do these periodic, monitoring exercise. And I also think that that would be a much more hands-on process, and they would have corrected most of their shortcomings, and they would have shared the good practices amongst themselves and the region, and then through the agency before probably our team from the ministry goes around. You realize that what we do from the ministry, it's more like a kind of a technical audit. It is closer, it fits the description of technical audit more than a monitoring exercise, which is supposed to be a continuous process. The collection of data, comparing what the indicators are during the project, and then at the end of the project, and stuff like that. So probably the ministry could be looking at strengthening the agencies to make sure that they have an M&E professional in all the regions to help us undertake an effective M&E processes. Now, the reporting bit is clear enough. The whole exercise should come up with a transparent, clear, and unambiguous report, highlighting the good practices, the bad ones, the corrective measures, and then the kind of risk that are entailed in certain processes, in certain type of projects, and actually recommend some risk assessment studies to come up with solutions so that these things will be implemented on in a generic form, not particularly project specific, so that it will go down well and it will be incorporated into the culture of the sector. This is off the top of my head one recommendation. We need to have some kind of some manual developed, and then amongst ourselves come up with how we can forestall the recurrence of such things. Because in conclusion, our reports and recommendations out of the joint monitoring team meetings is quite repetitive. The same things are being done year in and year out, and now we seem to be helpless in trying to transform and show some kind of a change and transformation in a system. And I think we should begin to take a much more critical look in a professional setting, and I take rigorous risk analysis or assessment and come up with measures and strategies to forestall their recurrence. And this should be done collaboratively, not a top-down thing, but as colleagues, either with the help of a consultant or with new M&E professionals hired into the system.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Kome-Mensah. We are grateful to have you today, and we are very grateful to receive all this stuff from you.